Pro Series podcast is shifting gears. Instead of expert interviews, we're talking with school leaders about the moments that led them into education and what is currently sustaining their career. These conversations are not just about expertise. They are about the experience and people behind the job. We will hear honest stories, small wins, real challenges, and the tools or tricks helping them keep their heads above water. Each episode shares a glimpse of what it takes to lead a school and stay human in the process. Today's guest is Matt Cowan, Executive Director at Believe Memphis Academy in Memphis, Tennessee. Matt's journey started back in 2013 with the Memphis Teacher Residency, and he's since served as a teacher, assistant principal, founding principal, and now executive director. In our conversation, Matt shares how his superpower of adaptability has shaped his leadership, what it's been like to move from the principal role to leading an entire school, and how he and his wife, also a school leader, find ways to support each other and sustain this work. You're going to walk away encouraged and reminded that clarity, alignment, and grace matter in leadership. Let's jump in with Matt Cowan. Hello, Matt.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
You're doing all right. I see you're working from home today on this Friday.
Yeah.
I could tell because for our listeners who aren't going to necessarily watch this recording, there's a shoe collection behind you.
Yes. Many years of collecting sneakers are behind me, and most recently, I'm about to get a new pair next weekend. So yeah, it's an ever growing collection.
How many we at?
Are
you too embarrassed to share?
No, I'm not embarrassed at all to share, but I have lost count at around 115. So I haven't counted in a while. So that's part of it. But what I'm also looking at is like a fourth of a wall. It's like stacked up as high as a dresser, but it's like 3 rows. So still another like 20 to 22 pair over.
That's amazing.
That you can't see.
That's amazing. Yeah. Like my godson, I learned about this shoe because you said that you're getting a new pair next weekend. And that's because I'm assuming it's dropping next weekend, a similar way that music drops, I've heard.
Yeah.
But yes, my godson, who is also a shoe fanatic, he taught me this and it was like, the shoe's coming out. I gotta be ready to log in. And it was very foreign concept to me. So, but now I understand.
Yeah,
I understand the process.
It has gotten better.
Okay.
During the COVID and a couple of years after COVID, it was like insane. But right now, it's pretty easy. If you put in the work, you'll get whatever shoe you want. And so, but back then, it was not that easy.
Not the case. Yeah, there were a few times where he was like, he didn't get them, and he was very sad. But okay, but also tell our listeners why you are working from home today instead of because every leader who's going to listen to this, they're going to be of course.
Yep. So we had to close school today because there was some sickness going around our school, and so we wanted to make sure that it was contained to the students who have already had it, and so we decided to close the building to get it clean and make sure that we can try to put a stop to it from spreading so quickly throughout our school. So yeah, we had a short week, but the teachers and staff were in need of a little rest, so it's not the worst thing. So yeah.
This happened at my girls' school last year.
Okay.
That it was just, they were passing around, like they were at half capacity for like their staff at one point.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just students that are affected, all the staff was getting sick, and they're like, okay, we have to shut school down. So they shut like on a Friday, cleaned everything. I think they brought in the priest to bless it because they were like, we have got to get whatever is going on in this building. It has got to be fixed. And so, so they've really cracked down this year. Like, You have the least bit of sickness. Please stay home.
Right. Yeah. And that's the crazy part is like trying to juggle that and then like chronic absenteeism. So it's like, hey, we're gonna talk to you about your attendance, and if you're sick, stay home. So it's like parents are like, so what you want me to
Right.
do? Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right. Mm,
but yeah,
mm.
you know,
Yeah. Every leader gets it. Every leader gets it.
right.
And it just makes for fun stories. Okay. Well, now that we've gotten those fun topics out of the way,
Yes.
tell our listeners, because you've been doing this education thing for a while.
Yeah.
You've been in it for a bit. So tell us how did you get into education? How long have you been in education? Where are we at in our journey, Matt?
Yeah. So I started in education in 2013, August of 2013. That's when I started as a resident through Memphis teacher residency. And so I started in education. Well, I wanted to get into education for because like was looking around Memphis and I was like, we need to change our city. And so and I somehow I got to the conclusion that if we change our city, the way to do that is through education. And so found out about Memphis teacher residency, joined the program, was my placement was a charter school, elementary charter school in Orange Mound. And so I was there as a resident. I was there. Then I was started as a sixth grade teacher there. Following year, my first year as a teacher on my own. They were founding a middle school, and I was a part of the founding team of that middle school, which was fun. I did that for 3 years. I did sixth grade ELA for two, and then eighth grade ELA for one, and then I became the assistant principal. So yeah, it went really fast for me.
Yeah.
And I was assistant principal for 2 years, and then I became a founding principal of another charter school in Binghamton. And then COVID happened the same year.
The same as your founding year as
Yeah,
principal.
my
Oh, I'm
founding year as
so
principal,
sorry.
COVID happened. And so I don't think I've had a regular year as a principal or a school leader since those 2 years as assistant principal. So something has happened ever since then. So I don't even know what it's like to lead regular in like a regular climate. And so,
You're like sickness outbreak is nothing compared
right,
to
right. And one of my principals yesterday was like, "Well, at least we knew what to do." I said, "Yeah, we knew what to do because of COVID. Yeah, so we knew exactly how to get this done." But yeah, and so then I transitioned to where I am now, Believe Memphis Academy, as the principal there after being at my founding school for 2 years, 2.5 years. And I was the principal and chief academic officer for 2 years there, and then I became the executive director almost 2 years ago. Woo!
I was about to
It
say.
doesn't feel like it's been that long, but almost 2 years ago I became the executive director. It'll be 2 years. I will complete my 2 years in January. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so I took over mid-year as the executive director, and yeah, that brings me here. So one of the things I've been telling people now is like I've literally been a school leader longer than I taught at this point, and
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
know everybody's not doesn't have the privilege to have that type of like trajectory in their career, but I'm really thankful that opportunity presented itself, and I've been able to like take those opportunities and be able to support my family, but also live out what I feel like God has called me to do. So
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so executive director is a new role. Like obviously the pivot from classroom to school leadership, huge
yeah,
change and difference. Pivoting from assistant principal to principal, little bit, little bit more, or like knew what to expect. Have you found like a big difference between when you were principal and like that chief academic officer and then now this ED role? Like what's that transition been like for you?
yeah. So I thought it was gonna be like it's fine. You could be like a senior principal. No, it's way more than that. And so it's been a huge shift for me. It's been a really huge shift for me. I feel like as a teacher, assistant principal, and as a principal, like I could get out and do a lot of the work that I like learn and um yeah, like I learn and read about and discover. As an executive director, it feels like you have to do a little bit less doing of the work.
Mm.
And so I get caught up in doing the work sometimes, and I'm doing the work that other people should be doing or can do versus the work that only I could do it in my role. And so that has been a big challenge for me
Yeah.
where I am responsible for all of these results and outcomes, and sometimes I'm the furthest away from them. And
Mm.
so it really feels like, well, I'm like, well, I'll just do it, but that takes me away from like something else or like some fundraising or paperwork or thing that I know I need to be the one to do. And so that's been the biggest challenge for me. It's been a
Yeah.
huge challenge, especially in the first 18 months. It was really a challenge because when my first 6 months, I was still basically the principal of
Yeah.
the executive director and the principal of the school. Um, and yeah, we had like 400 kids. It was crazy, but yeah, that's past me.
Mm. Mm.
Don't wanna go back into that time. but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been a it's been a big difference for me, and I am still learning how to adjust. I think I've been able to kind of get to a master point or like proficiency in my roles, and I'm still waiting to hit the proficiency aspect in this new role. And
Yeah.
so I think that's been the hardest part for me because I'm used to being at a proficient level quickly,
Yeah.
and I have yet to reach that. I think I'm headed in the right direction, but I don't feel it right now. So
Yeah.
um,
And I
yeah,
don't think you're alone in that. Like I think so many leaders that I've talked to, and again, I've gotten to work with quite a few schools who started with just quite a few leaders, right? And they started with just one school. And then they've grown. And so they went from being that single site school where they were essentially principal slash superintendent slash executive director, whatever that title is. So they were doing all of it. And then now they're growing, whether that's just growing in the number of grades served or growing number of campuses, and they're finding themselves having to step further and further and further out of like that direct doing or work, right? That is so ingrained in them, right? Like they're like, it's being in classrooms, it's doing all that, and then realizing actually can't spend all my time there. Like I need to find ways to be there, but I can't, that's actually not where I'm supposed to be spending all of my time. And it's a really difficult shift for so many leaders of trying to switch that gear in their brain to go, yeah, no, I have to be actually engaging the community. I need to be
yeah,
fundraising. I need to be working with my board. I need to be thinking strategically. I need to just be thinking. Like I feel like it's like
right,
so heady all the time. Like they're just like constantly making decisions and thinking and not, yeah, like not as quite as tactical. It's very much like the strategic piece. So
right.
you're not alone.
Yeah,
You're
and I
not alone.
thrive in the tactical pieces of it, right? And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think the what I'm trying to get to is how do I make my work more tactical,
Yeah.
um, in the right ways.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, maybe you might have hinted at this, but I'm going to ask it more explicitly because it's just part of the show. Is like I really truly believe every school leader has right, like that superpower, that thing that really makes them um, excel in the role or in their community or in their school, whatever. Right. So, what if you had to name one? What would you say is what is Matt Cowan's superpower in regards to school leadership?
yeah. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say it. So the way that I kind of think about it is like I kind of thrive in chaos, but more maybe I just like my superpower is like flexibility and adaptability. Maybe that's a
Mhm.
better way to say it. And so I've been able to adapt to situations very quickly to be able to see, you know, better outcomes than what you would expect.
Yeah.
And so I think those were some of the traits that leaders or other leaders saw in me, which allowed me to go up pretty quickly throughout the like hierarchy of a school, right? And so, like, when I was at my first school, Hanley, it was a very hard school, and we had a lot of turnover, and I was one of the few teachers that would stay throughout the turnover, from leaders to teachers, and I think I became a like and was able to continue to see success with students, even
Hmm.
in like culture issues, even in like leadership changes. I was still able to see success with my students, and so the new principal came in, saw that in me, and like decided to put me over culture. Was able to thrive in that way, where like I was able to build relationships with parents, to be able to do those things, to be able to I was able to build relationships with parents, to be able to see success with students who seem to be the most difficult at times, but really building those relationships allowed them to see more success. And so each time I've been able to adapt to whatever has been thrown my way. And so, yeah, I think as I was talking earlier about like the shift from being a principal to an executive director, that adaptability has seemed to slow down a little bit. And so, like, though it's I think I consider it my superpower. Though I consider it my superpower, I think one of the things is that having to see like the actual curve of learning and adaptability can slow down depending on how high the jump may be,
Yeah.
or the promotion or whatever may be. And so I think that has been my superpower. It has been the thing that has allowed me to be successful. And so I really I think it goes back to my childhood, honestly.
Tell me more. Love a good childhood story. Tell us more.
Yeah, so for me, so I grew up in Memphis, born and raised Memphis, Tennessee. And but So my dad ran a community center, Pine Hill Community Center in South Memphis, which is where my school lives right now. So that's the whole full circuit
Oh.
circle. But we lived in the suburbs, and so I went to school for elementary and middle school in the suburbs of Memphis. However, I spent most of my formative years and school outside of school time in South Memphis of Memphis,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a very different dynamic, very different groups and demographic of people. And so I had to learn how to adapt and be successful in both areas.
Hmm.
And so doing that, not just, a month here, a month there, doing that daily allowed me to build that skill set to be able to adapt and be able to fit in, if you will, or I guess more, I hate to say it this way, but I'm going to say it this way, to stand out in both areas or both places has been the thing that has allowed me to be successful. And not just to be like a huge standout, but to be able to stand out enough for people to see my talents, if you will.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I think, yeah, and I think that, yeah, that background and then now tying it to your adaptability makes a lot of sense for how you have been able to sustain a career, right? Because
Yeah.
that is like the thing with education. It's constantly changing. Like the tactics we have to to bring to, whether it's just in academics, and obviously every kid is different, every family is different, the school year is different based on like COVID and like just different things that just kind of are constantly being thrown at you, and a lot of things that you don't get to control, right? Like you
Yeah.
don't get to control what the higher ups are saying that you need to now implement, or whatever red tape is now being put on you. And I think it would be very challenging to remain in this education without some level of adaptability as a superpower for leaders. I think that's great. That's a great
Yeah.
superpower. I had to get out of education because I'm not adaptable. I am type A, and I'm like, this is not going according to plan.
Right. Right.
I had this lesson plan and we are off track.
Very, very, because there were three questions that I did not plan for that took me, and I was like, how did you even get there? How did you get there? All right, let's get you back. Let's get you back.
Okay, so yes, talked about your superpower. You talked about, your journey in you being at Believe Now, and you mentioned a little bit about challenge. Oh, it's challenging right now, just in this new role. But let's talk a little bit about like maybe what are you most proud of? Like, what's happening in your organization that you're feeling really, really good about? Because we got to find those. Gotta
Um, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is the students that end up having success after being challenging at times.
mm,
One student who came to us at Believe, it was odd because he was like eating hand sanitizer, and I was like, no, don't do that. But by the time he left us in eighth grade, he was really
mm,
starting to figure out what success looks like for him.
yeah,
And I think sometimes, specifically myself, I get so caught up in the bigger picture or the whole education as a whole. And it's disheartening at times because it feels like we're no better than we were 12 years ago when I got into education. However, it's the stories of the children and that I have encountered where I can say that they were different because they attended a school like the one we have at Believe.
yeah,
And I say it that way because there's not just Believe that's doing this work. There's
right,
so many other schools within our city, within our country, that are doing the same work and having the same impact that test scores and state scores don't tell the story of. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe those things are important. Don't get me wrong. But there are other stories and other data points out there that are so much better than what sometimes we see in the numbers.
yeah,
And so the thing I'm most proud of about the work that we're doing is that we see our kids more than just numbers and proficiency, but like true people that will become productive citizens within our city and within our country. And sometimes the proficiency score doesn't dictate that or show that, but it's about those anecdotal data points that really can attest and show the impact that you have on a student. Yeah, I think about that, and I'm not just proud of that at Believe, but I'm proud of that throughout my career because the students that I taught, like in a classroom by myself, about five of those students I still am in contact with. One of them is about like a few of them have got welding jobs or they're working in careers. One is about to graduate from the University of Memphis, I think, in a year or a year and a half. Um, and they still call and text me and check on me. Um, they'll check on me before I check on them at times sometimes. And so I just think about that and the impact that we just have by just loving kids and just loving them like they're your own at
yeah,
times. And so like they were my kids before I had kids. And yeah, I'm just really proud of that in the work. And when I think that I'm not doing good enough, because I often have that thought that the work that we're doing is not good enough. It's
yeah.
it's those moments or it's those moments where I hear from one of them that remind me that no, the work is happening. The
Mm,
work is happening. We may not always see it, but the impact on the lives of the kids that are entrusted to us is happening, and we just got to keep going. We just
yeah,
got to keep pushing. And if we do right by families, do right by kids, it will happen. And
yeah,
so that's the biggest thing. That's what I'm the most proud of um, from Believe, the work that we're doing at Believe. But that's also the thing that I'm most proud of that I can say has been consistent throughout my career.
yeah. I know your faith is really important to you. And I feel like just that has to feel so timely and intentional that, like, when things are hard, yeah, you get that text message or somebody walks through your door or there's like a really good moment with a kid in your building. That's just like recentering and regrounding back to like, oh yes, that's why I'm doing this work, and this is why I've been
Yeah.
doing this work for so long. And it's got to feel like a gift in those moments, because you're right, this the work you do is really hard. I
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all do it day in and day out. It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
We don't. We're tired.
The school leaders are not okay.
Yeah, we're tired. We're tired. We're putting on good faces, but we're tired all the time.
Well, I know. So yeah, so you have, because yeah, you mentioned you have kids of your own now. So you're
Yeah.
married, got kids of your own. You wake up every day to go, be with a bunch of kids in a school building and lead a bunch of teachers and staff, and then I'm pretty sure you coach one of your own kids' basketball team. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was coaching. I was coaching t-ball and basketball, but I'm not coaching t-ball anymore. My son moved up to coach's pitch,
Whew.
and I he plays on a couple. He plays on two basketball teams, and I coach his like rec team, but I do not coach his more competitive team, which I'm thankful for. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then my daughter is just cheering away. I can't coach that, but she gets some private tutoring from her dad every now and then. Uh, that she loves so dearly. But yeah.
So, okay, so then my question, because like this podcast is twofold. Of course, I wanted to create a community for leaders to be able to feel seen, right? It's like, okay, I'm not
Mhm.
alone. Like, even just, right? Like, I've also had to shut down my school building, right? Because of
Mhm.
whatever outbreak. Or, yeah, like that was really hard transition in that season of life when I went from this, from this role to this role. Or,
Mhm.
it's also really great. I do remember those kids and like being reminded. And so that's great. But we also have to be human outside of like those professional roles. And am wondering if you have, and I'm going to use these terms because I haven't quite figured out what I want to call them. I'm like, is it a resource? Is it a skill? Is it an easy button? Is it a life hack? Like all of the above. It's all those things. But how have you managed to sustain your career? How have you managed to still get up every day and do your work at Believe, still show up as a husband and a father and a friend and a community member and all of those other things, and still do a good job and still do the work?
Uh, I don't know if I've always done it well.
Well, no, I didn't say perfectly. Not every day has to be done well,
All
but
right.
you're here still, Matt. Like
So
you're
two
still
things.
doing it.
As a teacher, it was awful. I didn't have. I think my last year as a teacher, my daughter was born. So as a
Okay.
teacher, it was like I don't know what it would look like. My wife still taught when we had my daughter, and she became extremely just. She was just efficient in everything. But as a school leader, it's one of the things one of my mentors told me was like, do not open that computer while your children are awake.
Hmm.
And so my wife and I, for the most part, we still live by that.
Yeah.
And so I don't, unless it's like one of us has, so for context for everybody who's listening, my wife is a principal as well. And so unless one of us has a crazy deadline that's coming up, we don't open our computer while our kids are awake. Now, our kids have very early bedtimes at night.
It's at 5:30 p.m. there in the bed.
But that has been one of the ways that we have been able to be present as parents. And then for as a husband, like it's just been like my wife provided me so much grace and just the things that I need to do and how she has actually promoted my career by just being able
Mm,
to just being like being my partner in life. It's been great. One of the things that I was committed to as I saw her like really support me and sacrifice for me is like making sure that when it was her turn that I was able to sacrifice for her.
yeah.
And so like, you know, as the executive director, I do have a little bit more flexibility than I once had as the principal. And so like now it gives me an opportunity to sacrifice for my wife as she now is being a way better principal than I ever was. And so, like, just to be able to see her do that and be able to, cheer her on and be able to sacrifice for her in this time has been great. So, long story short is the way that I've been able to do it is through the partnership with my wife and being able to communicate openly and being able to be understanding and provide grace to one another when, like, we don't necessarily communicate in the most effective way, and realizing that most of the time it's not even personal to each other, that we do have a lot going on, and being able to pick each other up. And so when I can't be the best father that I can, she's been the best mother.
Mm.
So our kids haven't felt that, you know, that they've missed or missed parts of their parents because we're always picking up for each other. And so that has been huge. And I know that like none of this would be possible if we weren't doing that. And so I think that helps.
Yeah.
That helps. That makes that is how I can not feel guilty all the time about like how much time that, has to go to somebody else's kids, honestly,
Yeah.
and not go to mine now. And so, yeah, that's been the biggest thing.
Have you heard Brene Brown's teaching with her? She has this, her and her husband have this agreement and have had it forever, where she goes, ideally in an ideal world, right? We're both bringing 50%,
Hmm.
right? Home to then take over all of the I hope I'm not botching it.
What's
Sorry,
the
Brene
book?
Brown, if you ever
That
listen
book
to
is
this.
that.
I
I
can't
know what book it
remember.
is. It's the green one. Are all of them green? It's
No,
white.
because I've got a red one back here somewhere
Yeah,
that she's done.
that's the Fieldings one.
The
It's
Atlas of
the
the Heart,
Yeah, the Atlas of the Heart,
maybe.
and then it's the one before that. It's
Dare to lead.
white.
No, that's not.
Dare no,
No, that's
is it Dare
that's
to Lead? No,
no, that's
no, it is. It's Dare to Lead.
is it?
It's in Dare
Okay.
to Lead, or is it in the Atlas of the Heart?
I don't remember, but it's like the whole thing is like you come home and you go, you might come home and say, today I only got
10.
40%.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
I
cool.
know exactly what
Then
you're
I
talking
got to
about.
come up with 60%.
Yeah,
Tomorrow I might come and I got 0%. It's like, great, I'm coming with 100. And it's just, but it's like that communication piece. So,
yeah.
um, yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I also
Hmm.
remember she talks about the argument that they had about the people coming over for something she committed to, and he was like, "Nope,
Nope.
nope,
Not
we're not.
today. No.
Nope, we're not doing it."
Mm-hmm. God, I love her so much.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
Maybe one day I'll be a big time podcaster and she'll come on my podcast.
Not maybe. You will.
Thanks.
It's
Thanks,
happening.
Matt.
It's
That's
happening.
cool. Name it to claim it.
Yep.
Okay, well, maybe one other thing, and I know it's so hard. I put you all on the spot, and I'm sorry. But what does your day look like, or what's helping you get through like the school day because again, you don't want to spend your whole evening working,
Yeah.
ideally, right?
Mhm.
So like how are you having efficiency in your work day so that you don't hopefully, even after the kids are asleep, that you're not having to, because as we've talked about, Matt, the new Harry Potter
Right. The series
show
is
is
about to come
coming.
out. Yeah,
It's
yeah. I'm
coming
ready.
for us, Matt. And
As
I'm not
soon as we
spending
get
my
off of this,
evenings.
I'm watching Wednesday. I'm about to finish Wednesday.
See, it's on my Netflix watch list. I've got to get on it. See,
Yeah.
see, we've got content to consume. We cannot be working all every night.
Right.
So what are you doing during the school day to help your work be easier, more efficient? What does that look like for you?
So yeah, it's funny because like this is all coming to me as we're talking,
Yeah.
and so I think I'm learning this is that like clarity and alignment breeds productivity. And so when everybody feels like they are clear about what the goal is, about what we're looking for, everybody can go and do that thing. But when
Okay.
there is a lack of clarity, like everybody's kind of like, who's am I supposed to do this? What are we supposed to be doing? And so that creates
More meetings, more
more meetings,
check-ins, more, yeah.
inefficiencies, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's not just with my professional work. That's also with like with my wife. As long as we're clear about what we're like, what our goal is, we both can go and act and know that as long as we're aligned, that we're working together and not against each other. We're
Yeah.
always teammates. And so, like one of the things that I've been working on, especially as I'm in this space where I'm responsible for outcomes, but I'm not. I'm the furthest away from the work. Is how do I get very clear on the work that I'm doing, that my leaders are doing? How
Hmm.
am I very clear about what they're supposed to do? And how
Yeah.
am I very clear about what we expect as a classroom or from an S3 or from the front desk with everybody? How is everybody aligned on that? And so, like, one of the small ways that I've been working on that at school is like I'm coming up with a checklist of like when I walk into a classroom and believe this is what I should see.
Hmm.
We should see these things. And it's gotten a little longer than what I wanted it to be. But
Process.
like,
Yeah.
right, it's a process. And one of the things that I learned from another leader is like not to just say, this is what I expect. First of all, what do you expect as my team? And
Hmm.
then let's make this list together. And
Yeah.
so over the past 2 weeks, we've been making a checklist of like, when we walk into a belief classroom, what do we expect to see? And this
Hmm.
goes right now, it goes from the whiteboard to what I expect teachers to be doing, what I expect students to be doing. And we're perfecting that list. And then we're going to go and we're going to walk and see how we see it. And then, you know, then we're able to do it individually,
Yeah.
right? Those moments that we can create clarity will, I think, actually accelerates the growth toward proficiency, if you will,
Yeah.
right? And so, and I'm not even just thinking about student proficiency, but proficiency of, you know, deans, principals, managing directors, executive directors. The clearer we are, the acceleration toward proficiency moves. And so, I think that is like the resource that I'm like, or hack, whatever
Yeah.
that I think I am missing, or but I am also like striving to, and to create more clarity and the ways that we can do that without having 17 documents that everybody has to look at to figure out what are we supposed to be doing. Like, how
Yeah.
do we be very clear on that and push toward it?
I love that. And I think that ties in a lot to what you were talking about at the beginning, where it's like you've used to be so used to doing, but you need to actually pivot to where you're empowering your people to do.
Yeah,
And in this way, it's like you've done the job as the ED, which is to set the vision
yeah,
and to give the the resource, right, to build alignment across your entire leadership team and your
hmm,
teachers, right? Like they're seeing that list too. And so then it's like, hey, guys, I'm not going to do, this is not for me to own. This is not for
yeah,
me to do. I've done my job, right?
yep,
Now you all have to do it and uphold it. And then that allows you then to be able to feel confidently be able to go and do the other parts of your job that
right,
only you can do.
right.
I love that. I'm gonna steal that checklist from you, Matt,
Yeah,
and I'll
I'll
just
send to you in just a second.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah,
Okay, I've taken up a lot of your time. I have one more question I ask every single one of my guests. It is in the spirit of my company's name, CheckBox Pro.
hmm.
But what is one box? Oh, you might have already answered it. So let's see if you think of the same thing. What is one box, big or small, personal or professional, that you hope to check off today?
um, one, I want to check out finishing Wednesday.
That's what I thought. I was like, if he doesn't say Wednesday, then
I want to check out. I think I only got 3 more episodes, but I think also like right now, the job has been so crazy. I haven't been taking care of myself the way that I want to, and
Mhm.
so I want to make sure I do that today by like eating healthy and maybe even going for another walk today, right? And so those are the things that I want to do. I want to make sure I take care of myself because like the reality is that if needed, believe we'll get another ED, but like it would be MJ and Lawrence won't be able to have another father.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that I take care of myself, not for my own personal, but for those that I love, and so that I can be around for them. So those are the two. Those are the two things.
You got to take care of your physical and emotional well-being
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
Wednesday and a walk. I support that wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. Well, Matt, this was great. Thank you so much. You were
No
a
problem.
great guest and super vulnerable and super helpful. And I think, yeah, the work happening, I get a little bit more of an up close personal look at the work happening at Believe. And, you know, Memphis has a very special place in my heart. So any
Yeah.
school doing good by kids in Memphis gets my stamp of approval and all the love. So thank you so much. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks.